All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine. Going to be getting into the RBC Canadian Open. Going to be talking about the first round leader bets, which also are going to be showdown picks. That just, they work together like that. And then we're also going to be touching on some outright bets. And then we're going to be getting into a little bit of ownership leverage. Now, it might not be exactly in that order. Kind of just comes and goes how it is. But let's get into it. I actually am going to start off with the first round leader bets, though. Let's go. So I'm actually just going to be pulling it right off the 9-to-5 write-up, trying to make it a little bit quicker, get you guys more easy information. So the one thing I want to point out is that typically speaking, Amt Times are the ones that you want to attack for showdown and kind of first round leader bet. Does that always hold up to be true or even an advantage? No, not really, but at the same time, you're kind of just narrowing down your player pool in general, and that seems to help. Obviously, the weeks in which that there is a weather advantage, that is very easy to kind of tell. Just looking at the weather right now, you know, not too big of a difference. I think it's like 14 mile per hour winds in the morning and then like 19 mile per hour winds in the PM. So it could get dicey out there. It's supposed to rain as well. You know, we'll see what that's like, because 2 days ago, it didn't seem like the weather was going to be anything. It was like 5 mile per hour winds. So who knows what that's looking like? Well, you know, we'll have to wait and see on that. But just looking at right now, if I want to be targeting first round leader bets with the Amt Times, these are the golfers that have the best likelihood to have the first round lead, and I'll pull it up here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on all the Amt Time guys here. And then we're just going to, I just want to show you guys it. So the problem that I have with this is, sure, top heavy, it's great. It's great for betting first round leader bets. It's not the best for showdown purposes, okay? So that is going to be the issue here. That's what we're going to have to figure out, like what we want to do from there. So just sorting by first round leader rank with all the guys that had the Amt Time. So we can see Rory ranks third. And I'll tell you guys right now, Sky Scheffler, I think, was 1 and Cam Smith was 2, or it might be flip-flop. So number 3 is Rory, JT, and then we got Jonathan Vegas at 5, which really popped out to me. He's going to be a great bet for you guys for the first round leader. And then Corey Connors playing in his home course. What's very interesting here is that we have literally 3 of the top picks both on the slate and for round 1 showdown and first round leader bet all in the same group. And I typically don't like that because I don't know. I just typically don't like to overload a grouping too much. So I guess that'd be a little bit of a worry. Chris Kirk has been a first-round leader stud for a while. He slipped up for about a month, but he seems to be back. Adam Hadwin, I don't exactly love. And then we're starting to get in like too far, too deep. You know, Wyndham Clark, maybe you could go with. CT Pan, you could maybe go with. You know, that's going to be up for you guys to decide what you want to do with that. Let's just say, you know, maybe potentially the PMT time has an advantage. We can see which golfers are popping up there as well. Just get into that real quick. But as you guys saw there, for like showdown purposes, maybe someone like Adam Long, Wyndham Clark are golfers that you're targeting for showdown purposes. You can maybe go with that approach. I don't exactly love that, but that's going to be up to you guys what you want to do there. I'm just trying to give you guys the information. All right, so as you can see, Sky Scheffler, Cam Smith, and then we got Sam Burns. Keith Mitchell casually popping up there as well. His number is like 60-1, so it's not great. I don't love that, but maybe if you want to go with something like Aaron Rye, you could do that. You know, this is all just kind of information for you guys. As you can see, though, nothing really too crazy here. Nothing I really care to go out of my way with. So let's get back into the write-up here for you guys. We can see kind of my thought process here. Sure, CT Pan, I do like. I think he's a strong play this week, but he's more of a safe play. 75-1 is good odds. I don't mind that. And then Tyler Duncan, 100-1. You know, those are okay odds as well. He ranks out 19th, most likely out of the first round lead. So, you know, that's okay. That's not great, but I still like the odds there. And then, like, really, if you wanted to go with Adam Hadwin, I don't see him having the first-round lead. You could do that. He does have the favorable Amt time. That's going to be up to you guys what you decide to do with that. So just getting back into it. Once again, this is all in the write-up. It's about a 18-minute deep dive of everything you need to know for that golf tournament, and I really try to take out the fluff, concentrate on what actually matters for that week. So whatever you're reading is going to be actionable information for you guys to use in DFS or fantasy golf betting. So just looking at it one more time, Chris Kirk, Corey Connors, Jonathan Vegas, Adam Hadwin would make for like a safe showdown player pool, and then you could go with fill in with some of these other guys that it just gets risky. We can see a big drop off here. So that's going to be up for you guys to decide what you want to do from there. And then just real quickly, going to be getting into my favorite outright bets. Now, typically, I do not like to make any bets on the number. I think that's a stupid way of going about it. Too many times on Monday morning, I see people, on Monday saying, I had to make the bet because of the number. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Is he a good bet or a bad bet? And too many times on Monday morning, I see people do that. And I just don't like that thought process. But there are two bets that I kind of made because of the outright number. So, Taran here, I don't know how to say his name, to be honest. I apologize. But 250 to 1 really stuck out to me. And let's go to the write-up portion of him this week. Scroll down all the way to the bottom. So I have him ranked out as a mid-exposure play here. So we can see he has made the cut in 7 out of his last 9 events. That's pretty good. The one thing I want to point out is that he has had some really low rounds and then some really high rounds. That's obviously the worry. If he can just kind of knock out those bad rounds and maybe put in like a little bit less of a blow-up round, and he could be in contention to win. We can see at the Farmers, shot at opening round 80 and then fired off at 67. That's pretty good. He finished 5th at the Puerto Rico Open. He fired off a 65 that week, which is obviously a low number. The Valspar Championship, he missed the cut there, but opening round 75, and then he followed up with the 67. Kind of same thing with the Mexico Open, opening round 73, and then a second round 67. Wells Fargo Championship, opening round 65, and then 3 straight rounds over par. So we can see there that he has the ability to go low. He's just lacking the consistency. And are we going to get that consistency this week? Most likely not. That is most likely not going to happen. But in a week in which the field is terrible, we get a golfer that's in pretty good recent form. I don't mind that idea of targeting someone like him at 250 to 1. If anything, maybe we could get lucky. I saw him at 16 to 1 in the top 10. That's obviously a bet that I like a little bit better. Still, it's trying to get lucky. That is what that bet is. It's trying to get lucky. You're not making a smart bet. You're making a bet that is kind of an educated guess, trying to get lucky in terms of, in terms of just luck, I guess. One thing I do want to point out too is kind of Aaron Rye is a decent one as well. His number was really good, I thought. So he has the second best average finish on short tracks. And that's really all I'm hanging my hat on, and that number that we got him at. And then another thing I kind of want to point out as well, maybe more of a second round showdown pick here, Salih Tagala. So this is crazy to me, and this is part of my really big deep dive for the week, is that Tagala, he ranks out 131st in late round 2 scoring, which is pretty bad. But if you flip that around, he actually ranks out top 5 in early round 2 scoring. So he's going to have an early round 2 this week. And, I don't know. That is definitely a trend because both of them he had at least 10 starts with. There's a clear distinction there. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean he's going to play well, but coming off of a good week, I could see that kind of happening once again. And maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe he's just not used to the scheduling there of the late round 2 tee times. It's just a strange thing there. Something I want to point out for you guys. And then really from there for the outright leader bets, I do think Fitzpatrick has a good chance to do what Billy Horschel did last week. These guys where they've been in elite recent form, have been checking all the boxes where they, haven't miscut. Now, Fitzpatrick has had 2 miscuts. That's kind of the worry. But where they have, they've been trending towards a victory, sometimes they might just need that mental miscut to kind of reset and be ready to go to be in contention once again. Being in contention is a mental toll. And I can see that just adding up, maybe not right away, like the next event, but months down the road where you just kind of aren't concentrating on certain shots that you should be concentrating on. And we saw that with Billy Horschel. We did. Really, 2 weeks ago where he missed the cut, that's really what it came down to. A really bad shot on hole 9. It really was not surprising that he won. I think kind of the same situation applies with someone like Matthew Fitzpatrick. And then we got a bunch of guys that really are just due for wins. Shane Lowry, due for a win. And my kind of worry with golfers like this is that really when they're in this good a recent form, like Lowry, like Munoz, like HV3, is that either they're going to win or they're going to miss the cut. It really just, one of the two are bound to happen. Typically, they don't just have a gradual fall off. It's kind of a hard fall off like we saw with Billy Horschel, like we saw with Scottie Scheffler, like we saw with Matthew Fitzpatrick. Like that just tends to randomly happen. So I really like these numbers. It's a little bit bigger of a betting card than I typically like to go with. I'm not sure if I'm going with Aaron Rye as a bet on that number, but you guys could do that. I do really love CT Pan at 80-1. That's a great value for a guy that's kind of checking all the boxes. And then Sebastian Munoz, like if I had to make one bet, 45-1, that's a great number on a guy that's really coming in, checking all the boxes. Top 10 in recent form rank, top 12 staff it. Just a really strong play this week is Sebastian Munoz there. And then real quick, we're going to get into ownership leverage. So I don't know if it's changed much from last night. I haven't really looked at it just yet. So we got it pulled up here. And the very interesting thing from last night is that we saw that there really weren't any over-owned golfers or under-owned golfers. And that's because the ownership is really spread out this week. And I don't know if that's because of like kind of Billy Horschel last week, where kind of an obvious play when you, in terms of like upside, and especially when you have Patrick Reed right there. Patrick Reed was a terrible play, yet he was somehow chalk, where Billy Horschel was a much better play and was somehow discounted. And like Billy Horschel ranked out as a top 5 ownership leverage play, whereas Patrick Reed ranked out as like one of the worst plays you could make last week. Really, a lot of people got lucky that he made the cut even. The thing with that is I could see this being an overcorrection week for ownership, or it could simply just be the fact that no one really knows what to expect from this week. Everyone's pulling in kind of random data points to go off of for this week because we haven't seen this course in over 10 years. It's really going to be one of those two situations there. And with that, we're seeing a lot of these top-end guys be under-owned. I mean, basically everyone in the high tier, by not being over-owned, is under-owned, which is kind of a crazy thing. Just talking on that, though, some of the players that were under-owned last week that ranked out really well ownership leverage-wise, Daniel Berger was 10th. I think Patrick Cantlay was 2nd, and then Billy Horschel was 4th. And the one other thing I want to point out is that the ownership in DFS this season has been like one of the least predictive things. So the golfers that are the most owned on the slate haven't really helped you. And it's been a weird trend that I've noticed. So just something to pay attention to. And once again, that is kind of based off of, sure, golfers that are being high owned are more or less due to value, logically speaking, but we have seen a trend that golfers that are high owned or over owned, like Patrick Reed, are really just that way because of the potential that they could have an upside finish. So it's not really measuring safety. It's these people are making kind of educated guesses on golfers like Patrick Reed. I still think of Brooks Koepka chalk week. I think of Aaron Wise chalk week, like these random shitty chalk weeks. That is just happening because people want upside. They're chasing that upside. So it both makes sense why it's the least one of the least predictive things, but also it makes sense why people would be chasing value, I guess, as well, ownership wise. And that's why it wouldn't be that predictive. But just looking at it, we can see like no one, maybe Justin Rose a little bit ownership leverage wise would be someone to target, but really everyone that's like under-owned is above 9K. Maybe a little bit of JJ Spawn, I guess. He's still pretty high on. Like we're not getting really anyone great. That is the surprising thing to me. And it's just a crazy thing there. And I really don't know how to describe it. It is what it is this week. Like nothing too much to go crazy with, in all honesty. So I will point out, like John Hutt seems like the exact same play as like Nick Taylor. There were some other players that were kind of getting chalk in his price point range that I could see you rolling with instead, because he's pretty much the exact same play. So that's going to be up for you guys to decide. Like Smotherman, that's going to be up for you guys to decide. So let's look at players that are over-owned. And once again, I want to look at golfers that at least have like 7% ownership or so. Let's go with 8. No, let's go with 7. So the one thing I want to point out is that really there's not that many golfers that are over-owned. Like Adam Svensson really ranks out kind of terribly. Doug Gim ranks out pretty terribly. And then after that, Patrick Rogers, like sure, like 45 is not a good ownership rank. We can see he's starting to get into the red there. Matthias Schaub, same thing, like starting to get into the red there. But then we get into like Aaron Rye, David Lipsky, Austin Smotherman. Like sure, like it's not enough for me to just write them off as plays because they're a little bit over-owned, but at the same time, it's like it's not going to hurt you too much, I don't think. So kind of a crazy thing there. And then really like CT Pan's getting a lot of ownership. He's starting to get like a little bit over-owned, but no one is like too over-owned this week. And that just tells us a few things. One, the field is kind of We know who the plays are. It's just about getting the right lineup connections in there. And I think it's just the nature of this event being before a major as well. We see a lot of golfers just have random miscuts before a major, and we just haven't seen the course before or since 2010. So it makes sense for the ownership to be pretty spread out the way that it is currently. I'm trying to see if I have anything else I want to touch on. I'll give you guys the round 3 or the round 1 3-ball bets because these have been pretty accurate. If you guys just use these, you're going to be successful. So all these guys are likely to win their matchup. And I want to point out that this is much more of a long-term profitable approach. If you guys were to bet on these guys like each week, you would yield some profit. Whether it's that week, the next week, it's eventually going to return profit. I haven't had a week where I lost. It's either been a push week or a profitable week. And we're talking about like small gains here and there, maybe one spike week here or there. I've been doing this for like the last 5 weeks, and I feel like it's a really strong edge. So something you guys can go with. So like Jonathan Vegas over Cameron Piercy, Johnson Wagner, you guys can do that. A bunch of golfers that we have a really bad field event. So it does make sense that some of these golfers are going to be the favorites. And I haven't seen odds on DraftKings just yet for this. I'm hoping that they come out with them. I have seen on occasion that they take longer for really good matchup bets. And these guys were all really strongly ranked to win their 3-ball grouping. So we'll have to wait and see on that if they give us those odds or if they're even going to be good odds. But at the same time, I don't care too much. Obviously, the nice thing about the round 1 3-ball bets is that they're all like plus 100 or so for the most part. That's kind of the nice part of it. All right. That is all I have for you guys. Kind of an interesting week this week. The RBC Canadian Open, I'm very excited for it. This is one of my favorite DFS events. It's been an event in which I've had strong weeks before. The Charlie Hoffman, Jonathan Vegas playoff there. That was a fun one. That was I think that might have been my first year covering it, 2017, 5 years ago now. And the funny part about it is, like, I've been doing this for 5 years, and I kind of want to touch on the live golf just real quick because we are seeing a lot of people in the fantasy golf community commenting on like live golf. And one of the reasons why I kind of haven't grown as much as I would like to is I don't care to comment on stupid crap like the live golf tour. Like, this is going to fail in a year and a half. And about a year and a half from now, people are going to be complaining that DJ, that Bryson, that Patrick Reed, okay, maybe not Patrick Reed, are going to want to or should be back on the PGA Tour because it's not fair to them. I could easily see that happening. But also, I just don't get why golf media is really giving live golf the light of day. And it's all about interactions. That's really all it is. It's all about trying to boost up your clicks and whatnot. I just don't care to comment on it too much. Like, it is what it is. It could be fun if it was done right and by the right people. For me, it's not to grow the game of golf. And I'm honestly kind of excited to listen to Bryson's press conference if he is indeed going to the live golf, because he has tried to be a role model to a bunch of kids. And it's just fake. Everyone disliked Bryson because everything he did seemed like it was fake. It seemed like it was for the camera. And now that's coming to full light. And to me, it's kind of sad because he has really kind of went out of his way to say that he's like a role model to kids. And obviously, anyone that's making the jump to live golf is just not a role model. They're in it for themselves. And that's kind of the unfortunate thing about it. We are seeing that really, though, this is a strong week for the PGA Tour. Once again, they're really cutting all their fat off. They are. Kevin Na, Patrick Reed, Bryson. If Brooks goes there, that'd be huge. We talk about other players like Ian Poulter. Usti, I never minded. But you got other golfers that like Lee Westwood, like golfers that we are all sick of watching suck. Phil, obviously. Phil's a big one. And like, I just don't care about these golfers. Like, the game is in a great spot on the PGA Tour. It is growing by itself. This is not going to help the game of golf grow, especially in the U.S. And that's where I don't get why they're having tournaments in the U.S. Like, let's say you're trying to grow the game of golf. Let's say that's true. You would not be coming to the United States, where it already has a fully established LPGA Tour, PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour. Golf is great here. Golf is in the best spot it's ever been in. So much hype around golf. Heck, if you go to a public course, Tee time wise, you're probably struggling. You're probably getting grouped up with people. So for them to kind of say, oh, this is grow the game of golf, that's just bull. I hate that part. And honestly, like, I respect a little bit DJ saying, hey, I did this for the money pretty much. But what I am hating as well is all these golfers saying, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if this tour lives up to what it's supposed to be. We'll see what happens if I can get back on the PGA Tour. That just frustrates me. It's a bad look. All in all, the whole golf tour is a bad look. And I will say, once again, it would be successful and it would be fun if it was done by the right people. Like, if they could have brought in some females from the LPGA Tour and maybe some young guns from the Korn Ferry Tour, I think that would have been a lot of fun. I think there was a gap for it to be fun, but I don't know, just the way it's done. You see some of the pictures coming out, it's ugly. And I hate that I gave the light of day to this, but I didn't want to tweet it out. I didn't want to create any more interactions for Live Golf because people are just giving it free marketing. This is what they wanted, and people are falling for it. I think after this week and next week, the hype is going to fall off. They're starting off in London this week, and then from there, they're going to go to Portland. And then from there, I just don't expect it to matter. One quick thing on the U.S. Open that we're getting out of here is that I kind of hope that they pair up everyone from the Live Golf that is going to be playing in the U.S. Open, pair them together, and then the crowd can get together and just boo the shit out of them. I would love that. That would be great. DJ, well, let's be honest. People already don't like Reed. They don't like Kevin Na. They don't like Ian Poulter. But pair them all together and we can just boo them collectively. I mean, that would be great. I would love that. Talk about growing the game of golf. Everyone comes together collectively to boo those guys, to really put the foot down and say, hey, you guys messed up. That would be awesome. I would love that. All right. That's all I have for you guys this week. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like, subscribe. I apologize for the fluff at the end, but that's why I kept it at the end. I kind of wanted to get that out because it is disturbing to me. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.